There's a couple of things here. One, first of all, you want to find a pain point that you're solving. It's super important because if you're not solving a pain point, then it's going to be hard to sell your vision, sell your ideas to other people. If it's a pain point that's not being solved, or you could solve it better or cheaper, then you have at least a solid chance of getting out there and doing something.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome to the My Future Business Show. Tonight I have something very special with you for you tonight. I'm on the line with Nachum Kligman, who is the co-founder and CEO of booklikeaboss. How are you, Nachum?
I am doing great, Rick. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. Now, Nachum and I were just speaking offline about, the journey towards success. It's often has a few potholes in the road, and there's a few things to go through. And in tonight's call, we're going to be going through the nuts and bolts of this wonderful software, which in actual fact, My Future Business relies on. And if you're a beginner entrepreneur or small business owner, this is a call that you are definitely going to want to stick around for, not only because of the journey that goes on behind the product, but also the product itself. So, Nachum, what I'd love to do is share a little bit about yourself and how it came to be that you are on this magnificent journey with booklikeaboss.
Sure. So I'm one of those lifelong entrepreneurs. The guy who was shoveling snow as a kid. I was a babysitter. Anything to make a couple of bucks. And I always loved, I always had the entrepreneurial spirit, and I was always very street smart, much more than I was book smart. So I did horrible in school, but I made more money than the teachers. So, it was that type of conflict. But it was when I took a break from entrepreneurship. I had a failed startup in, I guess, 2015, I want to say. It was in the apparel industry. I started my own apparel line after being in technology for a while. And, I said to myself, how hard could it be to make a shirt? And it was a lot harder. It's a long story, but it was after, I spent 2 years, and it was a passion project of mine. I needed to take things a little slow before I started my next company. And as I said, what, let me take a break. Let me start a podcast. Let me write a book. And maybe I'll do some coaching, consulting. And that's what I did. But what happened was after I launched my podcast and I launched my book, I started getting, dozens of emails from people. Hey, can I take you out for lunch? Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can I just pick your brain? And, the going back and forth with, oh, by the way, I charge for my time. Yeah. Oh, how much do you charge? Oh, I charge $250 an hour. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, what does that include? And can you tell me more about yourself? And because they had just read the podcast, I said, I wish there was a simple way that when someone contacts me, in order to save time, I send them one link. It takes them to a page that says, this is who I am. This is what I do. Here are the services I offer. And here's how you could book me and pay for it all in one place. Right? I said, if I had that, then I know the people that are time wasters or people will pay me up front for my time. Yep. And they'll know the different services I offer. They can read testimonials about me, frequently asked questions, everything that someone would need to know in order to book me, right? Yep. And so I looked around for such software, and it didn't really exist. Of course, there were a lot of calendar apps, but nothing that had everything all in one. So I tried building it myself on WordPress, and it was just a pain in the neck trying to get Stripe and PayPal to work with video and to work with the booking calendar and to make it look nice and look a little mobile. And it was very frustrating for me. So I went to hire a developer. He wanted a few $1,000s for it. And I said, I'm not paying a few $1,000s for this. And then it was about, I guess, a week or two later, I get an email from a friend of mine whose sister is not technological at all. And she's a masseuse. And she said, is there any easy way for me to be able to just create one page that has my calendar, that has the different massages I offer, and lets people book me and pay for it all on one page? And when he sent that to me, that's when the light bulb went off. And I said, wait a second, if I have a business coach have this problem, and she as a masseuse has this problem with, with side gigs and side hustles and the gig economy and everything else taking off, I bet there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people around the world that has the same issue, an easy way to be able to sell a service online. And that's when I pitched the idea to a good friend of mine who had just become available and who's a master programmer, W. Dudkowitz, my co-founder,
Mm-hmm.
and he loved it. And we started building it. And a year later, we launched.
The rest is history. Now, like I've mentioned to everybody who's on the line with us tonight, my future business relies on this particular product. I was so fortunate to stumble upon it in its early days, and it's gone on to just iteration after iteration grow into this easy to use but behemoth of a all-in-one stop shop booking and payments / about information page. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, the platform. Where is it going, and what can people expect when they jump on board with you?
Sure. So it's kind of like it was a challenge because when we, now we have over 20,000 users in over 100 countries in 6 languages. But when we first launched it, we there was this forum called Warrior Forum, right?
Oh, yes.
And yeah, remember that?
Oh,
Back in the
yes.
day or something. So we said, okay, we're gonna launch on Warrior Forum. We're gonna get thousands of users, and this is gonna be awesome, and it's gonna be incredible. And so when we finally launched, we had this whole page we wrote out, and the works, and then we launched it, and it was literally crickets. We got one person who signed up, our one paying customer who sold moonshine or something like
Oh,
that,
wow.
and it was very like after all this buildup, after all the hours and over a year of building, it was very disappointing to see that people weren't going for it. And then we realized that, and then it was like, I think a couple months later that we launched an AppSumo that just took us to another place.
Mm-hmm.
And AppSumo really helped us with realizing what our issue was. And that was that people don't know what it means to sell service online. And what does it mean you're a service booking platform, right? But what do people understand? People understand online scheduling apps. They said, position yourself as an online scheduling app that has more, right?
Yep.
And that's what we did. We looked at all the different scheduling apps out there and we said, okay, yes, this one has calendars and bookings and padding and, all these different things. We have that, but we also give you a full page, and we let you take payments, and you create coupon codes, and you can do this, that, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And and that was the message that resonated. And once we launched on AppSumo, we went from like 200 users to over 5,000 in a few weeks.
Amazing.
And it's just continued to grow, mostly via word of mouth since then.
Yeah, because once you get that momentum, it just wouldn't stop. It'd be like the freight train.
Right, because like you see it in use, like, oh, what's that? That's pretty cool. Where can I get that?
Yep.
And we keep it. Our pricing is very in line with other competitors that don't have as many features as we have, and we're constantly adding features. We have a couple of big ones coming up, hopefully before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's very exciting, and it continues to grow. I tell people, like, and if you go to Capterra and you look at our reviews, we have like I think over 230 5-star reviews.
Wow.
And as an entrepreneur and a visionary, I want everything done yesterday. I want to take care of my we call our bosses. We have an active Facebook group with over 4,000 bosses in our group, and I want to give them everything. But the developers, well, it just takes time. Things take time. So that's one of the most biggest challenges and frustrating parts. But we're starting to get our groove and to really launch a bunch of different things. And but I tell people that what you see as Book Like a Boss is only 20% of where we're going.
Wow.
So in the next year, 2 years, you're going to see a real shift. You will still have all the features that you have now, but it's really going to blow people away of what we're going to become, which we don't publicly talk about because we do know that we are being looked at closely by a lot of our competitors.
Of course, and you obviously have a roadmap, and then there's a strategy behind all of this. And I'd love to come back to talk about some specific features that you do currently have on in a little moment. But because the My Future Business audience, Nachum, is about startup entrepreneurs and small to medium-sized business owners, I actually like to unwrap the mind of the person behind the business and talk about not only the really good points and the highs, but also some of the lows and some of the realistic expectations that they can expect if they're going into this fresh. Would you mind sharing some of your stories with us?
You're talking about going into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. And some of the struggles that you faced.
Yeah. So, I mean, I tell you, people think that entrepreneurship, or when you see a successful company or successful software company, people think it's been like a straight line going up.
Mm-hmm.
Or diagonal, right? Like a hockey stick type thing. when really it's a wavy line with its ups and downs.
Craziness.
There are times like when we launched on Warrior Forum, and we're like, did we just waste a year of our lives? And it was very frustrating, and we didn't know how we're going to get out of the gate. And then you have the high of launching an app sumo, and all of a sudden you have 5,000 raving fans, and people really love it. And then you start to build out everything. But it is challenges because also there's a question when starting a company. Do you want to be bootstrapped or do you want to take investments? And I've taken investments before in previous companies I started.
Mm-hmm.
And once you take investments or large investments, you don't get to make the decisions on your own. You don't get to, do things the way you totally want to do. And you're sort of answering to somebody, even if you have the majority shares, right? It's just not the same as bootstrapping. So we went into this knowing that we were going to bootstrap, put on our own money, put on our own blood, sweat, and tears to get it off the ground. That being said, we went a year and a half without getting any funding. Without getting any salary. Right.
Yeah.
So a couple of I have two co-founders, David, who we spoke about before, is a developer, and Lloyd Schroeder, who was a designer. And so they did some work on the side to supplement, to be able to keep doing this. But I didn't do that. As an entrepreneur, I build companies. That's what I do. I didn't have, I did some business coaching on the side and stuff, but I was focused on the startup, which takes, every minute, every hour. So, those savings eat up very, very fast.
I bet.
You have to budget yourself, and, taking vacations doesn't really happen. It's a lot of, there's a lot of risk involved because you just don't know what's going to be. So you really have to believe in what you're doing and prepare yourself for the times when you don't have money coming in, right? On the other hand, we were offered $1 million, $1 million investment about a year and a half ago, right? And from a guy who comes from the SaaS space.
Yeah.
And it would have been great because with $1 million, we could have put it in the marketing, could have hired more developers, could have done things faster.
Yeah.
But he wanted 40% of the company. All right. So, and he said he'll make us millionaires and all this stuff. But it's not just about the money. It's about being in charge of our destiny. And that's what Book Like a Boss, and the name Book Like a Boss, that's what it's about. It's about being your own boss, being in charge of your destiny, taking control of your lives, and making your own decisions. So taking investments was something we decided not to do, especially early on. That being said, but then you're frustrated because, as I said, we're only about 20% of where we want to go. We're 2.5 years now into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think since we've launched, and I know where we could be. Like, I know we're at 20,000 users. I know we could be at 200,000 users in a year. I know we could be at 2 million users in 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
So, and I see a lot of our competitors are following us and starting to do some of the things that we've been doing for a couple of years already.
Mm-hmm.
So the only really way to get there is to maybe take an investment. So we're looking into doing that now, or maybe some sort of loan that's tied to our revenue. There's different options out there that we're looking at, but that's also, it's the frustration. Hey, you want to give everything, you want to do everything, but you're just limited. And, I'll tell entrepreneurs and small business people that are looking to start a company, start a business, there's a couple of things here. One, first of all, you want to find a pain point that you're solving.
Yeah.
Right. It's super important, because if you're not solving a pain point, then it's going to be super hard to sell your vision, sell your ideas to other people. If it's a pain point that's not being solved, or you could solve it better or cheaper, then you have at least a solid chance of getting out there and doing something. Also, when you're starting something, you got to see if you have the money in the bank, right? Because can you afford to go a year without taking a salary? Can
Mm-hmm.
you go a year and a half? Can you go on a minimum salary if needed, right? What's going to happen? Are you going to take a mortgage on your house? Do you have kids? There's so many different things that are involved. But what you don't want to happen is that you're starting this company, you're putting everything in it, and now you don't have money to pay your mortgage or your rent.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to make sure you have money in the bank to cover your time, or don't quit your day job. Right. Yeah. Keep going your day job as long as you can and work the extra hours until you can get something off the ground and you see that there is some traction happening. I said too, but there's actually a third important point, is that if you're married or you're with a significant other,
Mm-hmm.
you got to make sure they're on board with you and your vision.
Yes.
There's no way I could have done what I've done, and there's no way I could be an entrepreneur if I didn't have the backing of my wife, who fully believed in me, who, through the ups and downs, I'm married 20 years now,
Yep.
right? And through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship over the years, if she not once, and there were times we had the electricity shut off on us, right? There were times we didn't have money for food. Not once did she ever say to me, maybe it's time you get a job. And if it wasn't for her support and her backing, I would never be able to take the chances and risks that I do, and achieve the successes that so far I have.
It seems to me that behind every successful man, there's even a stronger woman in many respects.
Absolutely.
I,
And
I
vice versa.
I'd love to ask you. I always concern myself with about longevity because you'd love to think that we're all going to be around forever, but we know that our time on this particular earth is limited. I always think about this in terms of the next generation who are wanting to get something like Book Like a Boss. Is there a need when somebody develops a SaaS program like Book Like a Boss to have an exit strategy? And what's your take on that?
So that's a great question. It really depends on what your goals are. And I'll be honest with you, when I die, at the end of my days, on my tombstone, I want to say that he created Book Like a Boss. He created an incredible SaaS program. What do I want people to say about me after I pass?
Yeah.
And it's really not, even though I love Book Like a Boss and I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, to me, it's not about the actual company. I'm not passionate about bookings. I'm passionate about solving problems and solving pain points and customer success and building something from nothing. But that's not like what I feel my purpose on this earth is. So, I want to build this company, build it to as large as we can, and then sell it, and then be able to use the funds to contribute back to the world.
Yeah.
Right. The things that will be written on my tombstone, that he gave a lot of charity, that he helped out a lot of people, that he helped spread the name of God in the world.
Yes.
Right. Those are the things that I want to be my everlasting impression, and that's what I want my children and my grandchildren to think of me, when they talk about me.
Yeah, that's some wonderful advice, wonderful life advice. And, I always wonder about the people, like I said earlier, Nachum, and you're clearly coming across as a loving, caring person that really wants to make a true difference for the right reasons. Now, importantly, when you step away, and I'm hoping that you do you step away of a weekend? Do you make time for yourself to just do other things in terms of your health?
So I don't, which is probably not good.
No.
Yeah, I mean see, my biggest challenge is that I can't just sit still. Like for me, I don't know what it means to just relax. I can't just sit. I don't even enjoy music. I can't just sit and listen to music because, to me, it's like, I don't want to use the words wasting time, but it's like, I could be doing something else. I could be learning something. I could be achieving something. I could be accomplishing something.
Yep.
So like even, lying on the beach or going on vacation, it's not a vacation for me because I truly enjoy the game of entrepreneurship. I love the ups and downs. I love the challenges. I love the accomplishments, the small and the large, and the challenges. That's what keeps me going. So for me personally, yeah, I mean, listen, I do take time every day to spend time with the family.
Yeah.
I take time to learn Torah, which is the Bible.
Yes.
Right. I take time to do the things that are also important and priorities to me. But in terms of relaxing and vacation, that's I don't do so often. Because I mean, I have 8 kids, so going on vacation, you need vacation from the vacation. So it's, but it is definitely important to remember, and this is I think the most important point I think you're trying to get to is your priorities, right?
Yeah.
You got to make time for your priorities. If your priorities is and should be family, then make sure you make time for your family every day. If it is, to achieve success in learning or to do charitable projects, make sure you have time for that. Don't totally knock it out and say one day I'll get to it because you may never get to it. Like what was that song? The old song, "Cats in the Cradle." Remember that song?
Yes, and the silver spoon.
Yeah. Yes, and the silver spoon, little
Yes.
boy blue and the man in the moon.
Yep.
When he coming home, son, I don't know when. We'll
Be
get
big
together
again.
then. So, right? So, that song is about, the father says it's too busy for his kid. And then when the father is older and he needs his son's, well, Dad, I'm not around anymore. I'm a little busy, but I'll come see you when I can.
Yeah.
And people tend to miss out on the important things in life. Entrepreneurship, building a business is great. But remember, again, what do you want to be written on your tombstone? Is it, that you, because, when we all die, it doesn't matter how much money you made, you're not taking it with you.
No.
It's just not going anywhere. So what is your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to talk about? And what type of real impact you want to have in the world? And don't wait till you die to achieve those things. Do it while you're still alive.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this sage, wonderful advice, because it's real life stuff. Now, I like to skirt around the software a little bit, and we'll get to that, I guess, in some form in a minute, because at the end of the day, I certainly recommend that we make sure you check out Book Like a Boss. But in terms of your beliefs about where the online economy is going, this gig economy, what do you think is going to happen in the next 20 so years with how we do commerce?
Wow, that's a great question. And I'll tell you, I'm working on a book that covers this exact topic. And, what do we think the world is going to look like 20 years from now? So, I believe that the 9 to 5 is dead. People want to experience more than they want to accumulate things.
Yeah.
Right. And these are affecting people's lives. People want to be able to work when they want to work. They want to be able to answer only to themselves. They want to be able to do what they want to do. They want to be able to work from where they want to work, and they don't want to have any boss on top of them. And so I think 20 years from now, you're not going to have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You're not going to have regular offices with hundreds of people sitting there. I think that we're going to see the shift has already started, but as technology continues to progress and we're in one aspect where Book Like a Boss is going to go in the future, is the ability for people to get paid not by the hour, but by their achievements and by what they do, right? So if I'm starting a business, I'll be able to connect with people from around the world. I don't care where they're sitting. I don't care how much time they do, but I'm going to give them tasks that they're experts in, right? And I don't mind paying for experts, and I'll have them do or accomplish, whether it's programming, development, design, whatever aspect of business that you need, and sort of plug and play as needed. And it's a larger topic, but I think that's where it's going.
Yeah.
But the shift is people wanting to work from where they want to work, the hours they want to work, when they want to work, and really focus on what they enjoy working as opposed to the 9 to 5 that we grew up with in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s,
yes,
where you stayed in the same company for 10, 20, 30, 40 years till retirement. And, work was just a drag and something that you were forced to do because you had to get a paycheck. And we're seeing that shift, and I think we're going to see it even larger in the years to come.
Do you find it difficult to write a book? Are you an established author? What's the process like for you?
I did write a book. I wrote one book already on entrepreneurship. But it is hard for me because I don't have the patience to sit and actually type. So what I do is I'll voice record and then send it to an editor, and then have it transcribed, and then have it sent to an editor. And then once an editor flushes it out and asks the right questions and sort of reorganize and say, hey, this is missing, we need this and that, then I'll add all that in, and then it goes through another process of editing until it becomes actually something that's readable.
Well, that's just the thing. You've solved a problem of your own. You're trying to make things easy for yourself and for others around you, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I'd love to just dig in a little deeper here. We're coming up to 30 minutes already. I could talk forever about the topics that we're into. I'd love to talk about the functional aspects, and if we could share for those who have no idea what the back end of Book Like a Boss does. Now, I do. I'm very excited about what I see, but I think coming from the boss himself would be the way to go. Would you mind sharing some of the key things inside?
Absolutely, Rick. So today, we have a lot of our users that say, hey, I don't have a website. Can I use Book Like a Boss as my website? And the answer is yes.
Yep.
What we did is really time is a commodity now. People don't have a lot of time. They want to get more direct to the point. And what Book Like a Boss does is it gives you everything that a person would need to answer any questions that they may have in order to get you that business. And it could be a stepping stone, could be an appointment, for a 15-minute free consultation that, you have your funnel and to bring people in, one step at a time. You can have group sessions. But But we basically make it simple to sell services and to take bookings. You can take payments. You can connect to PayPal, Stripe, or Square. You could connect to your existing calendars like Google Calendar, iCal, Microsoft, 365, or Office 365,
Yeah.
et cetera, Outlook, et cetera. We could connect to MailChimp and other integrations that we have. And the idea is to make the process simple as possible. Like even with Wix, right? You could build a site, but there's so much drag and drop you have to do. We don't have drag and drop. We make it simple, just to like sort of like filling out forms. We lead you through every step of the process so that you have everything you need in one place to sell your service. We give you coupon codes. So if you know that Tuesdays at 10 a.m. is a slow time for you, you can create a coupon code and send it out to your list or post it on your social media with a special discount, right? We give you, again, a full page is customized with your logo. You can use your own domain name.
Mm-hmm.
You could use your own colors and themes. And right now, the product is used basically for individuals. But before the end of the year, we're launching our team version, which is very exciting. We've had hundreds and hundreds of requests from people that said, hey, I have 2 people, 5 people, 100 people in my company.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give them their own, each one in their own booking page, but having one super admin.
Yeah.
And so that's something we're coming out with, which is going to be a big game changer for the company. And the idea is that, so now as a company, you could have one calendar and someone could book in that calendar, and then it'll sort of round robin to whoever's in the system to give them the appointment or the booking, while each individual also gets their own booking page, which is customized with the theme and branding of the company, but still has their own personalization. Because at the end of the day, Rick, people buy from people still.
Yeah.
And so the pages have a sort of social media feel to it. And so people can relate, and people want to do business with people they know, like, and, feel a camaraderie with.
Yep.
And a lot of these online scheduling apps, they're very bland and very dry,
Mm-hmm.
very one-dimensional. Like,
Yep.
Here's my calendar, here's my name, maybe you get a little picture.
Yep.
Right here, we're giving you so much more. You can put videos up there. You can put a photo gallery. So if you're into sports, give people a way to connect with you and relate to you. And that's really what you get with Book Like a Boss. It's a full system, maybe a landing page for appointments and bookings. But if you do have a website, we do integrate with other websites. You can embed your calendars on your existing website as well.
Yep.
So there's really, we're trying to make it, we're very focused on ease of use. And we know that, hundreds of people have left our competitors to join us because we're a lot easier to use.
Yep.
So we're focused on keeping things easy. We have videos teaching you every step of the process. An active, again, Facebook group, and customer success is very important to us. So we're here to help you build your business and be successful.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know that, for example, there are other integrations, and the rabbit hole goes very deep with this one. For example, the Zoom integration, which we're using right at the moment. When you book a call, I'm all about process and automation. And if I can have one system that takes me from spot A to spot Z, and I've got a booking in place and I get notified when this is coming up, it's wonderful. Then I click a link and up pops this Zoom window, and I have my call, and Bob's your uncle. Everything is in place and everything is powerful, and it's so reliable, so quick. So Nachum, where can people go?
Look, I just want to point out one thing in
Yes,
that. Just
certainly.
Yeah, Zoom just had their Zoomtopia conference about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And they announced that Book Like a Boss is one of their top apps.
Wow.
For Zoom, which was an incredible achievement for my team.
Congratulations. That is wonderful, because, it's just like a match made in heaven, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I know of another product which I'm highly invested in, which is Dub Video.
Love Dub.
Yeah, where you can put your videos below the booking page and all sorts of things. Your booking page below their videos. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So you can watch a Dub video and have a call to action to actually book somebody through your Book Like a Boss account, which is awesome.
Well, look, like I said earlier, we could speak for hours on this wonderful software. Nachum, when people want to find you and get their hands on Book Like a Boss, where are they going to go?
So go to booklikeaboss.com. We have a 14-day free trial, which gives you absolutely every one of our features. And we have a 20% discount if you decide to upgrade within the first 7 days, and then I think it drops to 15% for the next 7 days. So definitely give it a try. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Me personally, you can look me up on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Kligman, Kligman, and feel free to connect and reach out and let me know that you heard me on Rick's podcast.
Well, there you go, straight from the horse's mouth, as it were. So I hope you've enjoyed this call, because I know there are some nuggets of gold in there. Nachum, thank you so very much for spending some time with me on the My Future Business show today.
Absolutely, Rick. Thank you so much for having me. Truly enjoyed it.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.